All right, so what did PFF think of the Lions stink bomb last night in the preseason?
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, we're here, everybody. We've made it to August. It is Friday, August 1st, and it's Saturday, August 2nd. Locked On Lions, Locked On Podcast Network. Matt Derry with you for a Friday edition, wrapping up the week right here on Locked On Lions. Thanks for making us your first listen, everybody, and checking us out wherever you get your podcast. And thank you to those of you that watched last night, the first episode of the Locked On Lions Squad Show. That's right. Additional Lions content for you live following the game last night. Lions Squad Show. Jake Riepma, Bradford Banta, who's been on our show plenty, Natalie Kerwin. Go on to the Locked On Lions YouTube page. You'll see the Squad Show as well, as they were on following the game last night. We had our show last night as well, but check out the Lions Squad Show as well right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. All right. Here we are. It's a Friday edition. We're done with the week. Lions lost, of course, last night to the Chargers 34-7. Our crack research staff checked in today. Hang on a minute. I gotta, I wasn't even prepared for this, but it came and hit me in the side of the head here. Last night's Hall of Fame game loss to the Chargers, a 27-point defeat, was the biggest preseason blowout loss in the Dan Campbell era. The previous worst was August of 23 when they lost to Jacksonville 25-7. This was the biggest preseason loss by the Lions since falling 31-3 to the Patriots back in 2019. And that season, the Lions went 3-12-1. I can tell you this right now, the Lions are not going 3-12-1. But hey, we had to throw it out there. Our crack research staff, they know who they are. Hit us up earlier today. Thanks for making us your first listen. Like I said, thanks to our everydayers that are out there that either listen to the podcast or watch the podcast on our YouTube channel every single day. Shout out to a couple of folks. My boy Chad Toms, he's driving up north right now. He loves him some Locked On Lions. Matthew Zankis. Matthew's like, hey, if you ever need a fill-in host, I'm your guy. He's hitting me up. Jeff Kerwin is out there saying hello. He's a regular listener. Matthew Hawkins, lots of you guys hit me up on LinkedIn. Appreciate all of you checking us out. All right, we got PFF grades to go over from last night. Yes, Pro Football Focus did dole out grades as we always do after every game. Regular season, playoffs, preseason. We give you the top 5 performers from the game on offense and defense from PFF. Hendon Hooker spoke post-game last night, and I want to touch on some of his comments because I really liked what he had to say. I didn't like the performance, but I liked the attitude following the game. We've got lots of news in the NFC East that helps the Lions, I think. We'll get into that. And we'll do a call of the day. If you want to be our call of the day and be on the show, send me a voicemail at www.speakpipe.com/Dairy podcast page, and we'll play it on the show. Our call of the day today. By the way, another thing, and I'm all over the place today, but bear with me. Last night, the beat writers, I felt terrible for a lot of these guys and girls that were covering the Lions last night. The beat writers are in the press box, and the minute the game ends and they're writing their stories and stuff, they got to get in an elevator or stairs or whatever and get downstairs for postgame. Go into Dan Campbell's press conference. You hear from Jared Goff and other players on the podium. You go into the locker room and talk to other players. You're getting quotes for your stories, interviews for radio, TV, whatever it is. Last night, the elevator wasn't working at Tom Benson Stadium there in Canton, Ohio. But there weren't stairs that were able to take you directly for the reporters down to where they needed to go. So apparently, I think they had to take some stairs, get on the field, go through tunnels, who knows what. And a lot of the reporters, Justin Rogers, Nolan Bianchi, and others, missed the Campbell press conference. Like, NFL, what are we doing here? Come on. You're going to play a preseason game in Canton, and I get it. It's a smaller stadium. It's almost like a high school stadium-ish, very small college stadium. formerly Fawcett Stadium, now Tom Benson Stadium. And like, you can't, the reporters couldn't get access to the head coach after the game last night because they couldn't get down there quick enough. Come on, man. You got one big game in that stadium a year. Elevator was not working. Not a good look. All right. Lions lost last night. We talked about it. A bad performance. Really slow, really sloppy. I think it was Grant Stewart after the game. The Lions linebacker said 5 turnovers, no matter if you're playing preseason, scrimmage, joint practice, is unacceptable. So players owned it. The coaching staff owned it. Wasn't a good performance. It was July football. But as always, let's give you the Lions top 5 and bottom 5 performers from offense and defense from last night's loss to the Lightning Bolts. On offense, the highest graded performer on offense for the Lions was left tackle Dan Skipper. Skip checking in at a grade of 81.3. Next up was right guard Coyote Ewoshika, 79.7. Yes, there was a Colby Sorsdahl sighting last night at tackle, 74.2 for the right tackle. Isaac Tisla, the wide receiver, the stud, the star, the new Mr. August. Tisla got a 71.5 grade, catching a couple of balls last night. And Netane Moody, the big guard, 69.8 last night, as he was the second string left guard, I believe. Or maybe he started. So Skipper, Ewoshika, Sorsdahl, Tisla, Moody were your top 5 on offense. Bottom 5 players graded out the worst last night. At the bottom, Hendon Hooker, 32.2. Not good from the quarterback. One of the flying Zylstra brothers. Yes, Shane Zylstra, 36.3. Kingsley Equigan, who started at center, 43.5. Michael Neese was the backup center, 43.7. And yes, Kyle Allen, your favorite third string quarterback in mine, 47.9. Those were the worst and the best on offense last night. On defense, highest graded Detroit Lion in his NFL debut. Heck, he cried tears of joy before the game, admitted he got emotional. Ahmed Hassanin, 20 snaps, a grade of 85.7. Good for that young man. Who's not rooting for number 61? He's awesome. Just awesome kid. Nate Lynn, who I mentioned last night, off the edge, had a good game. 84.9, second best grade on defense. Rock Yasin, 75.3. He's a cornerback that is going to play. They signed him for a reason. He was brutal in Indianapolis. Got better with the Niners on a 1-year deal, 75.3. Ian Kennelly, local product, safety, 71.6. And Miles Adams, the defensive tackle who played a little bit last year. Don't mention him much, 69.3. Those are your top 5 defensive performances from the Leos in last night's loss to the Chargers. All right, as far as the bottom 5 on defense, you know the worst was. I mean, this was completely and utterly obvious. DiCaprio Boodle, number 17, just burnt to a crisp all night long. Stick a fork in me, Jerry. I'm done. 30.0 grade. Ennis Rakestraw, 38.1. More like Ennis Baked Straw last night. He was toasted. 38.1. Cornerback. Must get better. Ezekiel Turner played 47 snaps at linebacker. 38.8. Third worst grade. Mitchell Agude, the edge rusher, 40.6. And Trevor Nowaski, I believe, jumped off sides like 50 times last night. That's what it seemed like. Kept calling 53. 41.3 grade. Those are your top 5 and bottom 5 Lions from last night's ugly 34-7 loss to the Chargers. I'm not going to tell you that this is going to be the season's over. I saw an article today somebody posted, like, are the Lions taking a massive step back this year? Did anybody watch last night? None of those guys are going to be on the field. At least a lot. None of the starters played. Can we slow down with full-on regression after a preseason game? Is yours truly right here raising his left hand concerned about the backup quarterback job? Absolutely, I am, because that dude, whoever it is one step from being on the field if Jared Goff gets hurt. All right. But I'm not telling you there's going to be some massive regression with the team because they lost a preseason game. Remember when the Lions went 0-16? What was their record in the preseason? We all know. 4-0. Preseason champs. All right. Coming up next, Hendon Hooker spoke about his performance. I want to tell you what he had to say. We will do that next, right here on a Friday edition of LO Lions. And our broadcast here on a Friday is brought to you by Monarch Money. You ever manage your money and wish it felt like easier to do? Well, with Monarch Money, it can be. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial center, a command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth, right? You share finances with your wife or your husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is. Monarchs can help you stay on the same page so that everything is in one place. That is what you want. Take control of your finances with our friends at Monarch Money. Here's what you do. Use the code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com and you'll get 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. All right, we are back. It is a Friday edition of Locked On Lions. Thanks for checking us out wherever you get your podcasts. Hendon Hooker last night had an abysmal game. He just was not good. Kyle Allen wasn't good in the first half. Hendon Hooker was not good in the second half of last night's defeat at the hands of the LA Chargers. He completed 3 passes last night in the third quarter for 18 yards. It was not a good performance. It was a small sample size as he went 3 for 8 on the night, everything else. All right. But after the game, I was watching the interview, the video that was put on the Alliance Wire website by Jeff Risdon. And Hendon Hooker said after the game that he was very disappointed in his performance. Quote, "I'm just very disappointed in myself as far as leading the troops down the field and making more plays." He's owning it. This I really like. And I'll tell you why. He was bad. Kyle Allen was probably worse. They both were bad. But Hendon Hooker is not a young guy in his third year chalking it up to, I was rusty, first time out, it's July. Not at all. He flat out said, I'm disappointed that I couldn't lead the team down the field. All right. You got to figure at least maybe Friday night in Atlanta, next Saturday against the Dolphins at Ford Field, or even the Saturday after that against the Texans, that Hendon Hooker is going to get a start, that he's going to be playing with really the twos. Last night he was not, and he was playing behind the third string offensive line. But I like the fact that he owned his performance. He's in a competition and a battle right now with Kyle Allen for the backup quarterback job. And he just has not played up to standards, really going back to last year. The team went out and got Teddy Bridgewater to be the backup to Jared Goff, like in week 16 last year after the high school football season was over. And Bridgewater decided, sure, I'll come up and play a few games. And Hooker became the third string quarterback. And I talked to a couple of people, some of my insiders in the organization, and they were like, yeah, there were some bad weeks of practice for Hooker last year. And I think Brad Holmes is like, if we're going to make a run, which the Lions were hoping to do last year, we need some more stability. Maybe our guy, Hendon, is not ready. Remember, kind of redshirted the first year, coming off of the knee surgery at Tennessee. Barely took any snaps his first year as the backup, and then last year was never out there. So last night he just looked rushed. He looked like he had happy feet. There was that third down play in the fourth quarter where NBC showed the replay from the end zone cam. He's got Dominic Lovett going left to right on a crossing route that would have been a first down if he just hits him with it. Hooker put his head down for a second to run, and put his head back up to look down the field, and then was tackled for a loss. He just has got to be better, because I'm telling you, if he can't beat out Kyle Allen for the backup job, then he's really bad. And I'm concerned. This is the first year Jared Goff's going to be playing without Frank Ragnow, right? The interior of the offensive line is a question mark. I think Ratledge is going to be okay. I think Graham Glasgow will be solid at center. All right. He's going to be better at center than he was at left guard last year. But you got to have a viable backup. And if Hooker and Allen look like booty the next few weeks, do you pick up the phone and call Carson Wentz? Carson Wentz is not accepting a contract offer from any team unless he's definitely the backup. And right now, look, he was the backup last year in what, LA with the Rams? So like, or was that Jimmy G? Where was Wentz last year? Regardless, Wentz is going to want assurances he's not competing. But I mean, it's August 1st. Are we really having this conversation? But after watching last night, yeah, we are. We kind of are. And rewatching the game a little bit this morning, Tisla is fun to watch, man. Number 18 in blue was fun to watch. I know you only touched the ball a couple times, but even being the gunner on punt returns and all that, on punt coverage, I should say, was awesome to watch him. All right. So the Lions in the pantheon of the NFC. You got the Philadelphia Eagles, right? World Series. Super Bowl champs defending their crown. They are the team to beat in the NFC. Lions are right up there. But there are some experts that believe that just because they lost last year to the Commanders in the NFC Championship or in the NFC divisional round, that Washington should be considered ahead of them. Well, if you've been following the news lately, Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin, really the heart and soul of their offense, a veteran presence in that locker room and a damn good receiver, has asked to be traded. He wants a new contract. Commanders and him are at a standstill right now. He's kind of at a hold in at camp, and now he has made it known to Commanders brass he wants out. He wants to be traded. Wow, how the worm has turned. That guy was the poster child for unbelievable turnaround in DC under Dan Quinn. Jaden Daniels is top target. And just an awesome interview. I remember watching Scary Terry on SVP on SportsCenter, and he was so fun to watch. And the Commanders, that is a crushing blow to them if they were to lose him, because they've got nice momentum. All right. There are some experts as well that believe in the NFC that the Dallas Cowboys have improved themselves and that maybe, just maybe, they'll take a step forward this year. Well, today, Micah Parsons put out on social media in a long letter, he's told Stephen Jones, Jerry Jones's son, get me out of here. He wants to be traded and wants out of Dallas. Parsons wants a new deal. Parsons just wants to have good, solid negotiations with Jerry Jones, and Micah doesn't want to have to sit there. And yet Parsons wrote in his letter today that Jerry Jones only wants to deal with him, doesn't want to deal with the agent, is not being truthful, taking some shots at Micah in the press. And so Parsons is like, I no longer want to be a Dallas Cowboy. Now, let's clear something up here. Are the Lions trading for Terry McLaurin or Micah Parsons? No, they're not. They can't afford those. Brad Holmes said it's very difficult to have two $30 million receivers. They already got one in Amon-Ra St. Brown. They may have another in Jamison Williams in a couple of years. They're not trading for Terry McLaurin. That's number one. Number two, would Micah Parsons look great opposite of Aiden Hutchinson, rushing off the edge? Of course he would. But Micah Parsons is going to want 35, 40 mil a year. The Lions have not even gotten Aiden Hutchinson extended yet at that number. They're not trading for either guy. My point on this topic is NFC East all of a sudden looks like it's Philly and nobody else. If the McLaurin thing is still brewing, that's a huge distraction. And same with the Parsons thing. So keep an eye on that. That's, there's two teams in the NFC that are going to be competing with the Lions for playoff seeding, in my opinion. I'm not a huge fan of what Dallas is doing, but there's still talent there. There's still talent there. All right. Coming up next, why don't we do this? We are going to play a call of the day. We have a call of the day from somebody who was at the game last night. That's correct. Steve checks in at call of the day. We'll do that coming up next, right here on a Friday edition of Locked on Lions. Great to have our friends at 5 Hour Energy back with us on Locked on Lions. Time to fuel up. Turn it up with 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends on the golf course, this one's a hole-in-one for your energy game. All right, let's be honest. Some days you're on the course, right? Or even off the course. You just need that extra boost to stay sharp and energized. 18 holes is a lot. And today wasn't too bad, but there's hot days where you're hitting a 13, 14 hole mark. You know what I'm talking about. And you just need that boost of energy. Well, you can get it with 5 Hour. Golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors. Of course, the grape, ginger, lime flavor gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without chasing down the beverage cart. If you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that is the number 5hourenergy.com, you can use my promo code LOCKEDONGOLF to receive 20% off your order. This offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. All right, back again, Locked on Lions, Friday edition. Hope everybody is having a great day. It was a beautiful day today. Always fun to talk Lions football with you. If you missed any of the shows earlier in the week, including Sam Monson from the 33rd team, check it all out on our Locked on Lions YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts. It is time now for Call of the Day. Again, if you want to be our Call of the Day, you can be by going to www.speakpipe.com/dairy podcast page. Steve Facine, one of our everydayers, checking in.
Hey, what's up, Diesel? Longtime listener, Steve Facine here. So my wife surprised me with Pro Football Hall of Fame tickets. Really cool to see the Lions play in the Hall of Fame game. It was, not the performance we wanted to see, but I would say Isaac Tesla in person, you could see the size and the speed. That was really cool. Really cool stadium. I would suggest any Lions fans to come down here and check out a game down here, that's for sure. And then we went to the Pro Football Hall of Fame today. The museum, really cool. They had exhibits for, Lions and Chargers for being there. And then they had the 4 guys that are getting inducted in the Hall of Fame. I kept making the joke that Jared Allen, the only reason he was there is because he got to play the Lions twice a year. But that guy, man, he really tortured the Lions for years. But then I had a question for you, Deez. Have you ever been to the Pro Football Hall of Fame or the Hall of Fame game? And if so, what were your thoughts? I'll hang up and listen. Keep doing great work. We'll talk to you.
All right, Steve, thank you very much. Steve Facine checking in with us. Yes, I have been to the Hall of Fame. Man, I was there as a kid. My father was very, very big on Hall of Fames and wanted to take me and my brother as kids to Cooperstown, Canton. You got to remember, I grew up in Cleveland, so in a town called Pepper Pike. So Hall of Fame and Canton were not too far. So I went multiple times. I believe we also went on a field trip, maybe middle school, grade school. It's awesome. Pro Football Hall of Fame is phenomenal. I've been to all 4 of the major Hall of Fames. Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto's insanely cool. Basketball Hall of Fame in Springfield is okay. I wouldn't say it's great. Pro Football Hall of Fame's great. And of course, Cooperstown is there's just something about that town and just the history behind the Baseball Hall of Fame. And I think, to be honest with you, I think the Football Hall of Fame is starting to let in too many fringy guys. Now, I like that the class this year was only 4. It's a little bit underwhelming, to be honest. I'm not sitting here telling you, oh, yeah, Sterling Sharp. I mean, good player. I mean, I don't know if Hall of Famer, we could argue that. But yes, I've not been to the Hall of Fame game, though, Steve, but I have definitely been to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And I think they do a great job with it. And what I like about it, too, is when you take kids there, it's not just the museum. There are activities and things for kids, and looking at helmets, and the store is insanely cool. And I haven't been there in a few years, but there's something about these Hall of Fames. I know one of our everyday listeners, Noah Taluki, who worked for the Ravens for a little while and loves the Lions. Noah interned, I believe, at the Hall of Fame. It's magical. It really is cool. All the busts with the guys' faces on it is just very, very cool. And even more sweet, I guess, now recently that Barry Sanders is in, Calvin Johnson is in, and maybe one day Matthew Stafford goes in. You never know. But yeah, been there before, and it's great. So love that Steve's wife surprised him with a trip to Canton. Look, there's nothing like going to a road game or a neutral site game like last night was and seeing your team in their uniforms. I know it's preseason and everything else. The Lions got worked, but like to be in the stadium and see the Honolulu Blue in person, man, and not at Ford Field somewhere outdoors like that last night, that's a trip that Steve and his wife will never forget. All right, next week we are back with a fresh round of shows, 5 days a week from here on out. And Lions will play the Falcons next Friday night in Atlanta for preseason game number 2. Thanks, everybody, for checking us out wherever you get your podcasts. If you have not subscribed on our Locked On Lions YouTube channel, please do that. And also check out the Lions Squad Show with Jake Riepma, Bradford Banta, and our buddy Natalie Kerwin. We'll talk to you again on Monday.